everybody. I have a layout process video for you today using my counterfeit kit challenge kit build from earlier. If you haven't seen that kit build video, go ahead and check it out. In that video, I created these embellishments using Nuvo drops. I made myself some photo frames and these little utensils. Now, I never intended to use these utensils with this kit. It was just a happy accident, but I found these photos from last Christmas and I've resized them down to fit my frames, and they happen to be about gingerbread, so I thought those little utensils would work just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and start by getting my photos trimmed down so that they will fit behind my frames without showing any of the photo paper around the edges, and then I will get those attached. Now in a moment you'll see that I actually have 3 of these smaller photos for this other photo frame, and of course my frame is only set up for 2 photos. So I will go about trying to figure out what to do with that problem, and we'll get to that in a minute. So there is what the photo frames look like. And now I'm going to go ahead and set all of this stuff aside and start choosing some papers from this kit. Now this kit was never intended to go with a Christmas theme. So how do you get a Christmas theme out of non-Christmassy items? What I'm going to look for is products that have a celebratory feel to them. Now, I had that twine that has actually some gold fibers into it, and I'm choosing a selection of different pattern papers that have either some words, or here I've got some golden polka dots. And that paper, that striped paper, kind of reminded me of candy canes. So that read as Christmas to me in my own way. And going through my embellishments, I'm not sure I'm going to use much of any of this because a lot of it really doesn't have what I'm looking for, just kind of generic hearts, which might come in handy, but I end up not going there. So I will show you what I do instead. Now that pink paper wasn't quite the right pink to go with these Nuvo drop embellishments that I made, so I set it aside. And as I was building the body of my layout, I thought I would make a frame all the way around with that striped paper, but when I set my papers down, I decided I liked just the 2 corners. So I am going to use my paper trimmer to create these little frame edges, and since you won't see the rest of the paper, I'm just going to gut it out and set it aside for use on other projects. And then I will build up these little frame border edges together. And I love my tape runner for these long straight rows of edges, but as you can see, I ran out of adhesive right in the middle of this project. I've been doing so many projects lately that I'm going through it pretty quickly, so I'm going to have to order myself some more. So anyway, I am back and I've got it refilled, and I am finishing building the base of this layout and just trimming off the excess of that pattern paper that hangs off the edge of the 12 by 12. And then I start deciding where I want my photos to go. And I start with the small photos at the top, but then I realize I've got another plan for those Nuvo drops. So I need to leave myself some room at the top of this layout. So I'm going to go ahead and attach these things down in this orientation. And here is how I solve the problem with that photo. I just go ahead and stick it down to my layout, and then I'm going to fill in the edges of this as if I had my frame going all the way around. Now you'll see here that my photo has more of the portion of the photo I want to keep down low. So I'm going to make my frame a little bit bigger, and it doesn't exactly match, so I make it purposefully not match the other one by adding polka dots instead of stripes. Now here is what I wanted to do with the rest of these Nuvo drops. I'm going to create some little hanging ornaments off the top of my layout. And this silver color, which if you recall back to my kit build I thought was gray, is actually working perfectly here because I'm going to create the little wire hangers off of these ornaments as if they're tucked around the top edge of that paper. Now I give it a little tap, and that helps kind of spread and smooth out the Nuvo drops. And my circles aren't perfect, but if you wanted more perfect circles, you could perhaps use a template to go around and make them smoother, but they work for me. So I move on, and here I am spelling out part of my title, and I ran out of R's already in this brand new alphabet set. So I take a P and a Z, and I tuck the Z behind the P, and I cut off the excess edges, and now I have myself an R. I manipulate my letters all the time because I'm constantly running out of letters. Okay, I'm going to put my title on, and I'm a little bit dangerous here because my Nuvo drops are actually still wet. And I know this is probably a bad idea, but I'm doing it anyway. I will say, oh, see there, I got it on my hands and I had to clean myself up. So I pull out this ruler to kind of be my extra hand so I can get a little farther away from those Nuvo drops. And I get my title in place. Now, part of my title is going to be a little silly, and that's part of the reason why I used these frames, because it feels a little sillier than a traditional, formal Christmas layout. And my kids are posing in silly manners, and our gingerbread house ended up being silly with Santa's head stuck in the chimney. So I am going to make my title silly too, and I cross off the word Merry and I spell out the word Goofy with my Nuvo drops. Now I let my layout dry overnight so it wouldn't smudge and smear anymore, and you can see how the final result came out with this new Nuvo frame and the polka dots. They look just fine, and in fact it's actually a smoother finish than my pre-made ones were. I did have a little bit of a wrinkling issue when I made those ones. So here are my little ornaments and the little silver metal hangers off of there. And I decide that this word goofy is a little um, it's blending in a little too much. So I'm going to give it some definition, and let me show you how I do that. I just grab one of my finest black journaling pens and I am just going to outline around these Nuvo drops. Because it is textured and raised, that gives me a pretty decent edge to just follow along around. Now every once in a while my pen does slip on the letters, but the Nuvo drops are not absorbent, so I can just wipe that ink off the letters and it's working perfectly. I decide that I'm going to keep the embellishing really simple on this layout. I just add some of that twine with the gold sparkle in it and a little bow as if a Christmas gift is wrapped up. And that is going to finish it off. My title says everything I need to say on this layout, so unlike what I usually do, I didn't even feel the need for journaling on this one. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you try playing with any Nuvo Drop products you may have. I'll see you next time.